You watched him on Joe Rogan the other day?
I saw some of it.
That whole strategy of getting out and doing the podcast circuit, I think this is the first election cycle where I've seen podcasting become so important. And
100%.
that Joe Rogan Trump moment, I think, is a real defining moment in podcasting, but also like political strategy. What did you think of that move?
You're absolutely right, Stephen. So every election brings a new medium to the forefront. Kennedy and TV, FDR and radio, Obama and Google, Trump and Twitter. This will be the election, the podcast election. Because the last time there was a presidential race, since the last presidential race, cable TV is down 22% and podcasts are up 30%. So by going on Joe Rogan, 11 million people, 40 million people have seen that on YouTube. The average cable show gets about 500,000. A primetime cable show gets about 500,000 people. So going on Rogan for Trump is the equivalent or reaches the same number of people as if he went on MSNBC, CNN, and Fox every night during prime time for an hour, every day for an entire week. He will reach more people going on Rogan. You might get 300,000 or 400,000 going on CNN, maybe, for a 6-minute or 10-minute or 20-minute interview. So this is definitely the election of podcasts. They have become dominant. I would argue the seminal podcast was actually Vice President Harris going on Call Her Daddy, because not only did they not go on this medium, they wouldn't have gone on that type of podcast. But for a week, the entire zeitgeist in the U.S. was talking about that podcast. It wasn't talking about her interview on Face the Nation, or it was talking about her on this podcast. So this is the election of the podcaster.
For me, as an objective marketeer, watching that Rogan interview, I thought that Trump's team did a masterstroke. I thought it was, I thought it was absolutely the perfect thing to do, because
100%.
Absolutely humanized Trump in a way, softened him in a way that I hadn't seen before. And funnily enough, I won't name their name, but I know a lady who's a very strong feminist and is very anti-Trump and is very liberal. And she said she watched it. And the next day I said, what did you think of it? And she said to me, I burst out laughing like 10 times. He's so funny.
He's a charming guy.
That's what she said to me.
And he talks about, when he was on The Apprentice, and it softened him, made him seem more human, which is what he needs. So it's a big mistake. Occasionally I hear from the campaign and they ask for advice. And whenever a campaign calls you and asks for advice.
Which campaign?
Well, the only people who've ever contacted me on the Harris side. I got contacted by the Trump campaign in the last cycle, but not this one. I think they've figured out who I'm supporting.